Welcome to the With Generous Hearts podcast, where stories and spirit meet. On today's episode, you will hear the stories of Savannah Jane and Walker. Savannah Jane is the Director of Youth and Family Ministry here at Christ Church, and Walker, one of the students. They are inviting you into their experience on the Camino and talking about the ways that God's love has sustained them through this community here at Christ Church. And be prepared, you are about to be inspired by a remarkable 16-year-old. Savannah Jane and Walker recently walked the pilgrimage on the Camino, 127 kilometers, 80 miles, and we are so glad you're here today. I was looking on the Instagram feed that you all had, and the group shared these words about the pilgrimage: grounding, revolutionary, incredible, transformational, amazing, changing. And Walker, you are a Camino pro. I hear this is the second time that you have done this. So what made you say yes to walking 80 miles again? And what were you expecting this time?
Well, the first time I did it, it was like some of those words, changing and revolutionary. It was the best trip I've ever been on. No matter where I'm going, the Camino will always be the best trip I've ever done.
Yeah.
And so there was no way, when Alice gave me another chance to do it, I could never say no. So I was not missing this trip.
Oh, that's awesome. And what about the experience last time was so moving?
I think there's something about being in the countryside of Spain, walking alone, that just forces you to think. When I'm at home, I try to avoid hard topics. Like, if I need to actually have a conversation about something, I just avoid it, go on my phone, do something. But in Spain, you don't have that choice, and it forces you to think and creates a connection with God that I've never felt before.
Oh, that's beautiful. And the landscape can't hurt, right? Like, you're just like, oh, this is gorgeous. Now, you've been twice, but Savannah Jane, this was your first time on the Camino,
yes,
right?
My first time.
So did it live up to the hype that Walker brought to it?
It did definitely live up to the hype. It was a really incredible experience, and I totally agree with Walker that there is something about walking alone. Even though you're surrounded by people, it is a personal, individual journey, and there's something really special about having the space to do nothing but walk for 5 or 6 days. It's really different than going on a walk at home, I think, because even when I do go on a walk, like after work at home, I'm still in the middle of doing something. Like, it's a stopgap in between work and the rest of my evening or all of the to-do lists. But when walking becomes the only thing that you have to do for a whole day, it's very grounding, and then it makes the world get really small because all of the usual decisions that you have to make every day just kind of disappear. And the only thing is walking forward. And so it does really pull you into yourself, pulled me into myself, and you can't really avoid anything. Just like you said.
No.
It'll come.
It will come. Okay, so when you're walking, are you talking to your group mates? Are you how does that work?
We
how did you all do that?
Some structured walking, and
Okay.
a lot of it was just walking together in different groups, and it was kind of dependent on how fast somebody wanted to walk that day. And we did do some silent walking intentionally, where we would start off with an intention or a question or a reading, and then walk in silence for about an hour every time.
At least.
Yeah.
The first year I did it, I don't know if it was the group or the people or something, about half of us walked alone 90% of the time, I'd say.
Really? Interesting.
And then at dinner we would catch back up with each other, but this year was much more together, I think. There was it wasn't set groups because it changed every day, but I feel like the people gravitated towards each other. And but when you walk alone, that's how you should do it.
That's how God gets you.
Yes, exactly.
like you said, can't avoid that.
No.
So how many miles on average did you do a day? Like, how many hours does that translate to? Can you even remember? I know you might still have jet lag and all those things, but...
What, 14 miles a day, roughly?
Between 14 and 24, I think,
Okay.
usually a day. We started walking at 8 a.m., between 8 and 8:30, and finished between 4 and 5 p.m.
Okay. So tell me, because I'm like Camino newbie, what is it like to get to the end? Like, what is it like to arrive? Like, what's going on in your spirit? What do you see? What's that like?
Well, the first time I did it, they brought me to tears. It was the most surreal experience. With there's bagpipes playing as you walk down into the square, and you start hugging everybody once you get in there. It's the coolest moment of my life. And the second time I did it, I was honestly expecting it to not be anywhere it's the same. I was like, oh, I've already done this. It can't be as cool. And it was even better.
Oh,
the second time I did it, it's the most surreal feeling I've ever felt.
Sounds like lots of joy.
So much joy.
Oh.
And the pain of walking, however much that is, goes away immediately. I feel like I want to go right back to the beginning and do it again.
Okay. Wow. How about for you, Savannah Jane? You see this at the end and see it as, a person who's walking with these young people, like the joy you felt for them accomplishing this too.
Yeah, I think the coolest part for me was that I was walking last. I was the back of the pack of us going through the arches into the square of the Cathedral of St. James. And so I watched all of them go first. And that was really special to see their faces and to see the way they kind of reached into each other as we walked through the arches and as they got into the square. It was a really beautiful celebration of community and of doing something together. And that was maybe my favorite part of the trip, was watching at the end how everybody walked through the arches and then went to each other to celebrate.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm thinking, like, if somebody said to you, Camino, show me a picture of, if you were to describe the Camino, or like the image that you would want to share about it, what would you show them a picture of?
I mean, the first thing I think of is if you took a picture from the peak of Crowder's Mountain, but 10 times better.
Okay. That's awesome.
And it's a lot of fields. There's, on every mountainside, there's windmills for energy. But it's a complete countryside and mountains, like, mixed together.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So it's like farming in the mountains, and it's the coolest thing ever.
That I'm gonna hold on to that as a different image. I have a 6-year-old Walker, and we just did Crowder's Mountain, and she just ate saltines and cried the whole way out because she was like, "Why am I walking this?" So I'm like, "I'm just getting you ready for the Camino. It's gonna be beautiful up there someday to look at this." It's so cool to hear you describe the landscape, because there's this part of our faith that's like, God's in it, right? God's in this nature, God's surrounding us. And what you're describing of, you actually could be quiet enough to connect with God, right? Like, exactly. I think that's beautiful. How about for you, Savannah Jane, if you had a picture that you could take to show people around?
There is a picture that we actually have. It exists. And I don't remember if we posted it on Instagram or not. I'll have to go find it. But it is a picture of a bunch of the students talking with a woman in her 80s who was walking with her husband, and she was from France.
Okay.
And that is a really wonderful picture of what the Camino is to me. I think it's the age difference of the youngest person we saw walking, well, he was being carried. It was a 3-month-old baby walking
like
with his
some
mom.
legit commitment right there.
And then this woman was in her late 80s, and the baby was from Brazil, and the woman we were talking to was from France, and she wanted to know about American high school and what was it like walking. And that is, I think, a picture of the diversity of people that you meet along the way, and the best way to describe what it's like to walk the same pathway as people from all over the world, all different ages, all different backgrounds, all different religious backgrounds, but all coming together for the purpose of walking or of looking for something, because I think everyone who is walking is looking for something, and that is a really uniting goal to have all together.
This is like not spiritual. What was the best meal you ate on the Camino? Or were you like, I will eat anything, I just walked 24 miles?
Well, I know the worst meal.
Bring it, Walker. Let's hear it.
It's the first night. I remember it vividly from last year, and if you ask anybody from the trip last year, they would tell you the Russian potato salad it was better this year, but and some people enjoyed it. I tried a little bit, but it's every year just the texture of it.
That is too funny. What was the best meal you had, Savannah Jane?
The best meal I had was kind of a surprise, and we were in a hotel, and I don't remember where exactly in Spain we were. It was towards the end of our trip, and I ordered lentil soup for dinner, which is my favorite food.
I love lentil soup, which is such a weird thing. So I love it.
Yeah, it's a weird favorite food to have, but it is my favorite food, mostly because my grandmother made it for me all the time. It was like, it's my home comfort food. And it was bizarrely the exact same recipe that she used. It's
so cool.
Tasted exactly like it did when she used to make it. And she passed away a few years ago, and I have not had it since she died. And so it was a really beautiful moment of God's provision, I think, in a bowl of lentil soup.
It's like God, like, I see you, Savannah Jane. Like, you're walking, and I see you. Here's your favorite food.
Here's your favorite food exactly the way that you want it to taste.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so fun. Well, so this podcast, we are talking about perseverance and generosity together. And I think the Camino is part of that, right? There's perseverance, but there's generosity on the road with people you're walking with. There's generosity from God in lentil soup and, other ways. But I wonder for you, whether it was on the Camino or just like in your daily life, where have you seen perseverance and generosity show up?
Everywhere you look. Everybody you talk to they're some of the nicest people you ever meet. You try and speak each other's languages. Like if I find someone from Spain, I try and speak Spanish. It doesn't go very well. And then they pull out perfect English, which makes me mad sometimes.
You're like, I'm very humbled right now. Yes, I understand.
There's a couple people you see over and over. Like you'll see them one day and you won't see them the next, but you'll see them the following day. And the happiness and kindness they show you each time is just unbelievable.
Well, and it's interesting when you're thinking about that too, because one of the things that I think is happening in our world is we are not seeing people as human. And so we can treat them horribly. We can make decisions that hurt them. And sort of what I'm hearing, Walker, as you're describing it, is like the Camino is a place where it's like you actually see the humanity in the people that you're doing. Not even people you know, just like you're like, that's a human. Like they might be 79 and they're a human. They might be 3 months old and they're a human. You're sort of describing the beauty of that. And I don't think we have that many places in our culture that lift that up to say, let's practice that with each other. How about for you, Savannah Jane? Persistence and generosity. Where are they showing up in your life on the Camino? What do you think?
Well, when you asked that question, the first thing that came to mind was how the Camino often inspires generosity because of how it prompted me to really see the humanity in everyone in a way that is different from normal life when everyone's moving just kind of across and around each other. But there's something about walking in the same direction with a lot of other people that I think inspires everyone who walks it to look up and look around and realize that we are all always walking in the same direction together. And there's one story where we had a student with some pretty gnarly blisters towards the end of the trip. And he really needed hiking poles because that would help kind of ease the load of his feet. He didn't have hiking poles. And then we happened to run into a couple who were finishing. They were from France, and they were finishing their Camino. They had walked the whole thing. Oh, wow. And she just happened to be tired of carrying her hiking poles. So there is a saying, the Camino provides.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, the trail will provide. And the trail provided him hiking poles just when he needed it.
That's such a beautiful reminder of being in community, right? And seeing each other, but also God working through that, right? And the Holy Spirit maybe. Walker, for you, what have you learned about God in the last 2 years of your life since walking the Camino the first time?
That no matter what, he'll always be there for you. Because before the Camino, I didn't go. When I was a kid, I went to church every Sunday, and then we suddenly just stopped going. And then since the first Camino, he has touched me in ways that I could never even imagine, and that I will never miss a Sunday of church as long as I'm in town for the rest of my life. That happiness he brings just by being reminded of him is unfathomable. Unfathomable.
You got it. You got it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's so powerful. What, for you, does it mean to have a spiritual home here at Christ Church?
I think it's one of the best things to ever happen to me. Just that I can come here each Sunday and talk to people, the nicest people you'll ever meet. That it's just, I can come back here and be reminded that he's always there for me, no matter what.
Yeah. And I know, high school life cannot be that easy, right? And there's a lot of places in our world that are not telling you that, right? That are not lifting that up. And so what a gift to be able to come back, and Savannah Jane being part of that, right? Being a person who's speaking those things. Savannah Jane, you were just confirmed this year, so congratulations. That's so fun. So what does it mean for you that this is your spiritual home alongside Walker?
I think that even like the idea of Christ Church framing itself as a place that offers a spiritual home for all people is a really extraordinary thing, and it has been really transformational to my own faith to be a part of it. I think as a child and as a teenager, I think I often felt sort of a self-imposed pressure of performance with my faith, that it needed to look a certain way or be a certain way or needed to do a certain set of things in order to have the ideal spiritual relationship with God. And I think what Christ Church has offered me, and what I've seen it offer a lot of other people, is a place of belonging, no matter what the faith experience looks like. It's one of my favorite things about Christ Church is there really are so many streams that are all happening at the same time. It actually reminds me of the Camino, because the shell, which is the representation symbol of the Camino, is all of the roads that are the paths you can walk, the different starting points that all end at the cathedral in Santiago.
Okay.
And that is kind of what it reminds me of being at Christ Church, where we have all of the different ways to belong and all of the different ways to serve, all of the different service types that all end at the altar together. There's really no pressure to be or experience God in a certain way, but it's about noticing how God shows up for each individual person.
I wonder for you, we've got a new building coming up, and there's construction going on right now. A huge part of that is going to be youth space. What do you hope for that? Like, what are your like dreams about that space? And yeah.
I'm excited that if this new building it will hopefully bring more people. Then I'm excited for people to experience the community of Christ Church and what it has to offer, because it has changed my life in an infinite amount of ways since I've been here in the last year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah. If one of your friends were to say to you, Walker, like, why do you keep showing up there? Like, and they, like, what would you say back?
The first thing I would say is Savannah Jane and Alice, the most welcoming and inviting people I've ever met. And the life group each Wednesday night is it's a special place where you get to have these very deep conversations that are just, I think about them every day, no matter what. I'll go back to ones from the fall and last fall, and it's just this community of people with Alice and Savannah Jane that it's just, I don't even have words to describe it.
How's that make you feel, Savannah Jane, hearing all of that?
That is exactly what Alice and I want to create, and that's really, I think, what her and I's hope for the new building is to be a irresistible sacred space.
Oh, that's such a great phrase.
That is
an
Alice's
irresistible
phrase.
Sacred space.
Irresistible sacred space, and that's what we want for all of the youth events and all of the spaces that we create, for them to be hospitable, for all of the students to know they can show up exactly as they are.
What's an example of like a question or a topic that you all might talk about, or one that's resonated with you that you've been thinking about?
Um, on Life Group, we always do theological reflections where we pick a word
Okay.
and then what's the order we go in? We do what's good about, we pick an image or a metaphor that describes that word.
Okay.
There's one time it was content and contentment, and we chose a man that's in the hospital not doing well, and then his family and children walk in, and he instantly starts smiling and he's smiling through the darkness and being content. And I think about that weekly, if not every day. And it's so we pick what's good about the image, what's bad about the image, and then we talk about how it connects to the faith, and then belief statements.
Yes.
Nice.
Faith, how does it connect to faith? How does it connect
Society.
to culture, society?
Yeah.
And then how does it connect to our own personal experience?
Why does that image of the man in the hospital resonate with you?
It's a very, very long story, but I was in the hospital 2 years ago for 2 different surgeries on my head. And it just reminds me that like I would be in pain or whatever, and then my family or friends would walk in and immediately start smiling. And it's a constant reminder that no matter how hard life gets or like where you are in life, to always keep smiling because God's going to be there for you.
Oh my gosh. So from a hospital bed to walking the Camino, like
And
the faithfulness of God
exactly a year.
in that. Exactly a year.
Pretty much, or
Wow.
11 months.
Wow. What did generosity look like? You're in a hospital bed. People are showing, I mean, family offering smiles. Like, what did generosity look like at that time?
I had 4 of my best friends at the time. I didn't want to see anybody, but they came unexpectedly to the hospital, and I didn't want them to come see me because I didn't want anybody. But to know that they showed up for me and they brought me gifts, like no matter what, without even asking, it's just a constant reminder of the people that we have here.
I was just doing an interview on another episode, and Mary Fletcher said that God is showing up in the people who love you, right? And
Exactly.
What you're describing
That's
a lot is
perfect way.
I didn't know in a hospital bed, like, God, where are you in this, and what's my space? And you're describing people reminding you who you are, and powerful to think a year later you're walking on the Camino with a group of people. And it's interesting, I'm sure you all have talked about this, but the idea of the shell being that end to the Camino, you're talking about the roads, but I'm also thinking about baptism and the waters of baptism. Often in some traditions, they use shells to put that water on your head of like, all right, you're here, you're fully beloved, you're who God created you to be, you went through something hard, and guess what? You're still here. Like, God's got you. You've been describing this. Like, you're never alone. And Savannah Jane, as you think about an irresistible sacred space, what are like 2 or 3 parts of that make that an irresistible sacred space?
To have a long table, because I think there is something really holy about being able to sit around a table and look everybody in the eyes. And that was one of my favorite things about the Camino too, is that we would eat dinner together every night at a long table in a restaurant or a hotel. And so, because we're walking in a line all day, or like walking in parallel all day, and
not a lot of like
lot of
sitting like that. Oh, that's beautiful.
And so being able to come back at the end of the day and sit in a circle around a table felt like an irresistible sacred space while we were there. And that it has been some of my favorite moments in youth ministry here, is when we've been eating meals together and sitting around the table and bringing our life to the table with us.
How about for you, Walker? Like, what makes that space an irresistible? This is like a new phrase. I'm going to be using this. An irresistible sacred space.
The first thing I thought of when you asked her that question is her and Alice. That's the first step and the biggest step.
We're like, here you are. We're just putting you in here.
But besides that, going back to Life Group,
yeah,
we do it at Alice's house almost every night, and there's a certain homey feel to it of being comfortable. So any sort of space that has a similar feeling of like, I can be comfortable here and I can forget about any stress from the outside world or anything. It's like that homey feel is one of the most important things to me.
I love that. One of the other things that I've been thinking about as I've been praying for that space and for the ways that we will come together as a community is thinking about young people, Walker, that you either go to school with or in this community that are like, I don't have a space that's telling me God's going to be with me. I have a lot of space to say, figure it out on your own. Go to AI, do all of these different things, and I just think that the power that you're describing is that we're not offering a program. We're saying, come join a community, come find life here. And that seems like what even the Camino is a trip that you have to promote and sign up for and do all of that. But what you're describing is like, this is not a trip. This is life change, right?
Exactly.
And what does that look like? I wonder, as we're moving towards closing, Walker, for you, if somebody said to you, Walker, should I go on the Camino pilgrimage? I know you're going to say yes, but what are you going to tell them?
That this trip will forever change my life, and if I can do it, then anyone else can do it. So I think people are worried about the walking that far, but if you get a chance to do the trip, then you can't say no. You have to say yes.
I love that. Savannah Jane, how about for you? If a young person says, I don't know, like I'm not walking 80 miles, I can't be without my phone that long, all of those kind of things, what do you say?
I think my answer to questions like that always is, I think it's worth a shot. Like, I think it's an experience that it totally makes sense to have nerves going into because it is so different from anything else that we might experience in our daily lives at home. And so, of course, there are like, will I be able to walk 80 miles? What if, like, I don't want to be without my phone? I don't want to be in a new country. What if I don't like the food? I think those are all totally normal and valid questions to have. And I think my answer will always be, it's worth the shot because you don't know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And because no matter what you go in expecting, I think it will be different from what you expect, because it is such a special and unique and holy experience. And I think it is kind of great to be in a position like that, to go in being nervous or to go in being uncertain, because then you get to be really surprised. Mm-hmm. And I think that what I've heard from our students who walked it this year, even the ones who went in maybe a little nervous or apprehensive, is that one of the best parts for them was being surprised by God showing up while they were walking in ways that they didn't expect or had even prepared for, and how wonderful and transformative it was to be able to release themselves from having to perform or to get a grade or to make the team, and to just be for a while and see what happens.
I love that kind of, Walker, when you said at the beginning, you couldn't avoid God on the Camino, right? That God, and if that's the case, then of course you're going to be surprised, right? Because God's going to show up in maybe silent places that you've never been silent in. And so I think that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for showing up. I am going to be asking everybody the same last two questions, which is, lots of people, when they're stressed, overwhelmed, chaos, they need to persevere. They may lean on God, but they also lean on snacks. And so I want to know what your go-to comfort food is.
I feel like something I always go back to is a Dairy Queen Blizzard. A Krispy Kreme donut. But I don't get them very often, but that will always be the staple.
They always hit the spot when you need it. All right. A Dairy Queen Blizzard, a little different than lentil soup. So Savannah Jane, you got another comfort food?
I just think a good classic grilled cheese, like sourdough bread, good cheese. It's been toasted on both sides. There's a process.
It's like very specific. I love it. And what are you grateful for today?
Gosh, I think that's really it. Just the opportunity to be here with a place like this, just be living. Mm-hmm.
Amen. How about you, Savannah Jane?
I'm grateful for Walker and for his willingness to come in and talk to you and to have a conversation, and to share about his experience on the Camino, and for all the ways that he shows up for youth ministry as a whole. It's been a gift to work with and alongside him. And it makes me grateful for all of our students and all of the ways that they show up and bring themselves. Because I think when you show up as yourself, Alice and I get all of the best gifts of that, of people showing up with everything God has gifted them to bring with them, and we get to see some really extraordinary things come out of that.
I think people often ask me, like, why are you working in the church? Like, what is God even still doing? And sitting across from you, Walker, I want to be like, that's what God's still doing. Like, God's still showing up. God's still changing lives. And there's an invitation here at Christ Church, especially as the new building opens, to say, there's not just this Walker, but there are more Walkers to come, whether they're walking on the Camino or named Walker or whatever that looks like. And I'm excited to be part of a community that says we want to nurture the next Walker in our midst and give gratitude and thanks for you. So I appreciate you joining us today on the podcast. I know that this conversation is going to bless our listeners. And I know that there is a kid who's in middle school or early high school. It's like, it's my turn. I got to get on this Camino. I cannot wait. And we'll look forward to hearing those stories. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.